While we
Let's
were
see what he has to
policing
say.
nation building in deserts and debating pronouns at the Pentagon, our primary competitors, like the Chinese Communist Party, did something very different. They studied us, they learned from our triumphs and our mistakes, and then they started to build as well. And they've undertaken some of the most rapid, ambitious, and breathtaking naval buildups since World War II. While we decommissioned ships, they launched many of them. While some of our shipyards did not meet the demands of our country, they expanded at a rapid pace, but not anymore. While we seek good relations with China.
Yeah. So at least one thing he said clear, but I think the United States should do actually the same and learn from China instead of being so hard-headed and want to be number one. Because clearly the United States is a failed state. They have so many people living on the street. They should focus on developing instead of trying to be number one so hard. It's so wrong on so many levels what he's saying, right? Why don't they just do the same and stop militarizing the world, stop the wars, use the money to develop your own nation, and in no time they will have a great country. Honestly, I mean, look at what China did in just 40 years, right? They built up a country like nobody ever has seen. The biggest wealth creation is because of China, right? Lifted more than 800 million out of poverty. While in the United States, at the same time, the people are just going into poverty. When you have life expectancy in China has risen more than 2 times, even bigger now than in the United States. While in the United States, it's in decline. Why don't, and China did that when they came out of a situation of being number 11 poorest nation in the world. So just think of the United States with so much money and so many resources that they have still today. If they would just change, they would have amazing infrastructure, amazing cities. Homelessness would be gone. The opioid crisis would be gone. But they're not doing any of it. Right? China's opioid crisis at that time was way bigger than the United States has right now. What the United States has right now is just peanuts compared to what China had to go through because of the Opium Wars. And that was forced upon China, right? What the United States has is imported by its own CEA and DEA. They are the culprits. Their own ex-president Obama was caught selling weapons to cartels. But anyway, it shows that they have no intention to change the fate for their people. They have no intention to really actively do something for their people. They're only using it as escape or as a pretext for wars and more wars and to arrest other presidents of other nations who have done nothing wrong to the United States. And that is the fact, right? So he says he actually is showing their own failure. China wasn't copying them. China was reading them. And on the book, what China was reading when they were looking at them was a single title. And the title said, How Not to Govern Your Country, 101. And China took notice. This is not the way that we should go. The United States is constantly in war. We will not be at war. They are using their money and giving it to a bunch of capitalists that already have billions. We will give it to the people who need it the most. While they are having cutting on their schools, we will invest in schools. When they are financializing their market, we will make a manufacturing-based economy, which is real economy. This is what China has been doing. And the United States is mad because of that. Then why don't they do it? Right? China had millions more of people with an opium problem. How come within 4 years that the Communist Party of China came to power? 4 years! Or was it 5? Anyway, it was 4 or 5 years. That problem was gone. And they did it while being number 11 poorest country in the world. Not the country with the most money in the world like the United States has. But number 11 poorest country in the world. Most African nations that are today still poor were richer than China was back then. But yet, within 4 or 5 years, they were able to get everybody clean and have the streets clean of drugs. So tell me, why can't the United States do it? The United States cannot do it is not because they cannot do it, it's because they will not do it. Because for them, it is making money. And for them, it's a good pretext to attack other sovereign nations and just take away their president. Tell me I'm lying. It's the truth, isn't it? Anyway, that's what I had to say on this, but it was even more interesting when we go a little bit more back.